You better say that. The best talk show, you better say that. The guests on the show, you better say that. Give knowledge and hope, you better say that. I'll say that that's the host, you better say that. Spread love and faith, you better say that. God steer away the hate, you better say that. We all gonna be great, you better say that. Work out passion, not pay, you better say that. Oh yeah, you better say that, say that. Oh yeah, you better say that. Oh yeah, you better say that. You better say that.
Hello and welcome to the You Better Say That talk show, where we dialogue with people from around the world. I am your host, Alzada Florence, and I'm so excited that you took the time to join us today. Today, our topic is a hot topic, is women who lead in their community. Community creates a sense of belonging, support, and community connections. Community can mobilize to address social issues and work toward a positive change. Community play a role in shaping individuals, building families, and cultural traditions, and so much more. Councilwoman Connie Taylor is here as a trailblazer in her community. Not only is she a trailblazer, but she serves her community by being the city councilwoman in Auburn, Alabama. I hope I said that right, but she is the councilwoman in Ward 1 for this great city of Auburn, Alabama. She is here to help us talk about the community and what she does in the community. Miss Connie, thank you so much for being here today.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I am so delighted to be here. I was just honored to be here and be a guest today.
Amen. Well, you know what? When we talked about it, and I think I had called you a couple months ago, and you couldn't come because you had some stuff going on.
I had a lot going on.
Yes, but you know what? It didn't trouble don't last always.
Not always.
That's right, because I already told you don't look like what you've been through, right? Well, you look so good today, and when I called you this week and asked you to come, you said yes, and I was so happy about that because you have so much to share, and you do so much, and the community needs to know who you are, even the more, and what you do in the community, because community is important.
Yes,
and because community is important, you know, I think people should grab hold of what you're going to say and what you're going to share and become an advocate for the community. Everybody can give back. Yes. We all can, you know, I don't do what you do. When I looked at your resume, I was like, oh, good God, Miss Connie has been out here as a trailblazer and a pioneer for a long time. And mine doesn't even scratch the surface of what you do, but I do what I can. You know what I'm saying? And so that's how come I support you. I said, well, you know, I'm learning, you know. So thank you so much for being a trailblazer. Thank you so much for being a pioneer in our community. And thank you for making a difference.
Okay. And once again, I'm honored to be here. And I thank you for the invitation. And so let's get started.
Let's get it on. Okay. Well, listen, tell us just a little bit about Miss Connie Taylor, the councilwoman. Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, like you said, my name is Connie Taylor, and actually it's Connie Fitch Taylor. The
Fitch type.
Because Fitch is my maiden name. And I have been in Auburn for all my life.
All your life?
All my life. And I've always lived in Ward 1.
Okay.
Okay? And that's the community that I serve and represent.
Awesome.
And I have 3 sons, grown sons.
Yes, they are grown.
They are grown. My oldest one is 45. And then I have a 44-year-old. I'm about to miss his age, but
it's going to get you.
He's going to get me. And then I have one that's going on 42. And I have 5 granddaughters. I got 3 sons and 5 granddaughters.
Oh my goodness, jeez.
And they're ranging from the ages of 22 to 2 years old.
Oh wow.
To 2-year-old.
Okay, that's the baby.
That's the baby. And I've been, like I said, I've been in Auburn all my life, and I've really enjoyed being I guess one day a pillar for the community.
Sure.
And so that's basically, I'm a member of Mount Vernon Missionary Baptist Church, Pastor Brown.
Yes, we know him.
Yes, and he probably don't want me to say this because he hardly ever see me, but Pastor, I will be back. I am still a member.
Right, okay, you make sure you want to clear that up, Pastor.
I want to clear that up with Pastor. So, but yeah, and I work at Tuskegee University.
Okay.
And I've been there for 12 years.
Wow.
But before I went to Tuskegee, I actually worked at Auburn University, where I retired, and I had worked there for 30 years.
Oh, what?
Yes.
30 years
Yes.
in one place?
In one place.
Oh, now somebody need to say, you better say that and amen.
You better say that.
You better say that. That is longevity
Yes.
in one place, because not many people can do that.
Yes. I worked in different departments at Auburn.
Sure.
But for about, of those 30 years, 18 of those years I worked for the physical, I would say facility management department.
Okay.
And so from the facilities management department, I started my career over again at Tuskegee, working for facilities management.
Okay, isn't that wonderful?
Yes.
And so after you did 30 years at Auburn, then you left there and went to Tuskegee. So what was the gap between the two?
There was no gap.
You just went from one to the other?
Yes. I left on September the 30th, and I started working October 1st.
Well, that is a blessing. That's awesome. You need to have a work ethic class for this new generation, because they do not like to work, and they like to change jobs, like they're changing hats or hairstyles or something. But that is powerful. That is awesome. So you're a native of Auburn.
Yes.
You grew up there. You lived there. And you have kids, you have grandkids, and then you served in Auburn for 30 years in the marketplace, and then now you're in Tuskegee. Powerful.
And I also don't want to forget, I was married for 17 years, and I was married to the Reverend Larry Taylor.
Okay.
So that's how I become Taylor. He's deceased now.
Oh, wow.
But so
so you was married for 17 years.
I was a single parent for 18 years.
Okay.
And then I married him when my oldest son was 18 years old.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Isn't that wonderful? And did y'all pastor?
He did.
He pastored.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't a pastor. He was just a minister.
Okay, great. Yes.
So just ministering the word.
And that's what's important.
Yes.
It's not so much about the position; it's about getting that word out.
That's right.
Okay. Well, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Awesome. That's awesome. Okay. Well, so now, as you finished your where did you go to school? What college did you attend? For your education.
Actually, when I got out of high school, I went to Tuskegee, and at that time it was Tuskegee Institute.
Right, I remember that.
Because I'm a 60s baby.
Yeah, yes we are. Yes we are.
But I left there, and I sort of did a few little trades like nursing and different things like that. But I actually finished my career at Faulkner University.
Okay, in Montgomery.
And they had a class up here in Opelika.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yes, and so I was going to class here, but when I got ready to graduate, I had to go to Montgomery for graduation.
Okay, okay, awesome. Okay, well that is so good to know. Education is important.
And my degree was in business administration.
Okay, gotcha.
So I finished top of my class.
Ooh, well, you better go, girl. Isn't that wonderful?
Yes.
So you have such an awesome story, and we can see how God has raised you up, to make a difference.
Yes.
And then you're educated. You're just not out here, winging it, but you're educated, and you have all the qualities and all the necessities needed to lead in the community.
Yes,
Am I right?
Yes. You better say that.
You better say that. I'm telling you, this is the girl. I love it. So listen, you left. You're still working at Tuskegee right now.
Yes.
Right. And when I looked at your resume, I looked at your bio, I saw all the community work that you've done and all the awards that you have gotten for your community service. And when I looked it up, you have received the 2021 Martin Luther King Community Service Award, the Arthur Hill Senior Community Service Award, as well as the Distinguished Community Service Award for Delta Sigma Sorority Incorporated. All of these, that's a lot of community service award.
Yes, ma'am.
That speaks volume. How did you develop such a love for your community? And it shows because all the people have recognized your work in the community. That's why you receive all of these awards. I didn't name everything, but her resume is huge. Her bio is big. But I wanted to highlight the community part because to me, community is important. Where did your love for community come from?
Well, actually, it came from, I had most of my family members, the older ones, they came up in an era where the community was important.
Yes.
And so I want to give a lot of credit to my uncle, who's deceased now, and his name at that time was Duke McCray.
Okay.
Okay, so he was a soldier in the community as far as civil rights, and my cousin Bernice, she was also, and so they inspired me, and I used to watch them and how they was out in the community fighting, and you know, and another person that inspired me was Barbara Pitt.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Yes, she was one of the ones I would always say, wow. One day I wish I would be just like Barbara Pitt, you know.
Wow.
So she was always out in the community, making sure that things was getting done, and fighting for people's rights and doing stuff like that. And I look back and I would always say to myself, man, one day I would like to be just like Barbara.
Wow.
And along the way, what I did is that when I was younger, I would follow political leaders,
Sure.
such as A.L. Didell.
Oh yeah.
And he was one of the people. Well, he was my brother-in-law.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was my brother-in-law for 17 years. And so, you know, and how he was a warrior in the community.
Yes.
And then there was Pebblin Warren, and I got to know her and her leadership, representative, Pebblin Warren, and her leadership led me. And also John Andrew Harris.
Yes. I know
And he
him.
was a great leader in the community.
Yes.
And I used to follow those people and campaign for them. And you know, Reverend Bandy.
Oh, George Bandy.
George Bandy. Yes.
Yes.
And you know, just following those people and understanding what they represented. And so that sort of kind of made me want to do those things and serve in the community. Even when I would have my grandbabies, when I first started having grandbabies, and when I had the birthday parties and stuff, I always, instead of them having a private party, they always had a community thing.
Oh wow.
So I always did it as a community. So
big event for everybody.
For everybody, yeah.
And
so different things like that really inspired me.
That is great. So you had some good mentors.
I did.
You know, and then you shadowed some. Sometimes you were probably shadowing people and they didn't even know it.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe
Yes.
shadowing from afar. You know, and they were building and they were being an example for you. And even then, God was probably just building you up for what you're doing now.
Yes.
You know, because you haven't just started this. This is your second or third term.
Second term.
Second term. So that's 8 years. Isn't that right? 8 years.
Well, it's 7. I'm in my 7th year. So next year, re-election time. So that'd be my 8 years.
Right, exactly. Okay, that's awesome. You know, I remember when you said that, it kind of triggered something in my mind. When you said that, you know, you would watch different people, you know, from a distance, you know, and saying, when I grow up, I want to be just like them. You know, I remember being a young lady too, from maybe 18, 19 or 20 or something like that. And I was at my church and it was, they had Women's Day. And there was a woman that came to do Women's Day. You know, back then they didn't let women in the pulpit except for Women's Day or not at all.
Right.
But at our church, you could go to the pulpit for Women's Day. And I remember sitting on the side and the woman of God, she preached or she spoke. And I remember just looking up at her saying, I want to do that one day. You know, and guess what? I'm doing that one day.
Doing that.
Yeah, I'm doing that. But you know, and so God put that desire in us. So I just said that to say, God put the desire in you early.
Yes.
You know, and now you're walking it out. You're following in the footsteps of the forefathers, you know, those pioneers that led the way, you know, and paved the way for you. So you were learning even while you were following.
Yes.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yes, it is. And I also want to get a thanks. I always want to thank Valinda White. She was a council person before me.
Yes.
And one of the things she did when she was on the council, she nominated me to a committee, and it was the cemetery board.
Yes.
And so it sort of kind of, and she did that, I guess, at the kindness of her heart. And and that really made me also want to be a part of what was going on in the community.
Right. So that was the catalyst.
And I stayed on the cemetery board for 9 years.
Oh, get out.
Yes.
What?
Because of her nomination.
Wow. Open the door.
Open the door.
And sometimes you just got to get your foot in the door. You know what I'm saying? So people can know you, find out who you are, find out what you're about. You know what I'm saying? So We see you, Mama V. Thank you so much for opening the door for Miss Connie. I'll make sure she get that.
Okay.
But she's a blessing.
She
is such a jewel. So shout out to you, Mama V, Belinda White. Awesome. So that is so inspiring to know how you started your being in the political arena. It's good to know how you start, because sometimes kids may dream of doing that, or you had a desire, maybe they were encouraged to do it, or pushed to do it, or even made to do it. But yours is that you saw someone else walking, and that's it's so important for us to walk in the calling that God has called us in, or walk in the passion that we have, because somebody else is watching, somebody else is gleaming, somebody else is shadowing, and we have to make sure that we're walking it out.
Yes.
Yeah.
I always look at it that I hear people say that it's not good to be a follower, but you got to follow somebody in order to lead somebody.
You better say that. Now that's what you better say. You're never a good leader until you learn how to follow.
That's right.
Because everybody had to follow someone.
Yes.
And
and now I try to encourage my granddaughter, the one that you see me with all the time. So let me just give a shout out to Skylar Fitch.
Hey, Skylar.
I want her to follow my footsteps.
Sure.
She may not want to be a politician one day, but I want her to be a leader.
That's right. In whatever capacity that God puts in her to do.
That's right.
Exactly. She might be the president. Who knows? We're not going to put no limits on it.
I know
We're
that's
not
right.
going to put no limits. We don't know what. She
That's
may be
right.
the mayor.
That's right.
She may be, a city councilwoman as well. But whatever it is, you're training her up, And the Bible tells us to train up a child in the way they should go.
That's right.
And when they get old, they will not depart. But you're pouring into her what she needs right now.
Yes.
And being a leader.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter what she does, where she goes, she'll know how to lead.
Yes.
And walk in those footsteps, walk in that leadership
She said she want to be a traveling nurse, but I want you to be a leader.
Yes.
Traveling
be the lead nurse.
That's
baby.
the lead
be
nurse.
And lead the whole floor.
Lead nurse.
Boss them around. It doesn't matter, but lead.
That's right.
Exactly.
Lead.
And make grandmother proud.
Yes.
Yes. So listen.
All of my grandkids, I want you to make me proud.
Yes. Yes. All of them. How many is it? 8?
5.
It's 5. 5 girls.
It's 5 girls.
5 girls. That's
five,
right.
5 living. Actually, I got 3 deceased.
Okay.
I got 2. Actually, it's 7 girls.
Okay.
My youngest son had 2 that's deceased, and then my oldest son, he has 3 girls now, but he had a son, but he's deceased.
Okay.
But yeah, I got 5 living.
Okay. Awesome. Well, listen, you are the founder of, since we're talking about kids.
Okay.
You are the founder and CEO of the Northwest Auburn Task Force. How did that begin?
Well, when I got on the council, and the mayor, he decided to put us on different task force for the city.
Yes.
And I wasn't really, I guess I was a little surprised at the task force that he assigned me to. And so what I did, I began to talk to some of my constituents, and I wanted to make sure that they would, I would have ward meetings and stuff like that. And so everybody was so ready to make a difference in the community. And so after talking with a lot of the constituents that came out to my first ward meeting, second, third ward meeting and stuff, then I think we all decided that, we need to do something here and become a task force so that we can make a difference in the community. Yeah. And so I wanted to lead that task force. And so that's why I decided. And the idea also came from one of my council persons, Bob Parson. And he had talked to me about, maybe starting a task force on the Northwest Auburn side.
Okay.
And so that's when I really became interested. And so
that's kind of how that started.
Yeah, that's how that started.
Well, the task force was because of the violence or because I remember when I worked for the city, Mayor Fuller put together a task force for our community as well, and it was a lot going on in the community. They wanted to figure out how to bring the community together, how to keep it safe, how to watch out for each other. I wasn't in the meetings, but I know that they, I think around about the same time, they were putting it together for the sake of the community. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
And the task force also It's to bridge a gap, and it could be several bridges that the gap needs to be bridged.
Right.
And one of the thing is policing,
Yes.
black on black crime,
Yes.
and crime just in general, and also growth.
Gotcha.
Being able to deal with the growth,
Yes.
and especially the growth, and living in a college town, and how it's growing.
Yes.
And how do we actually come together as a community so that we won't be priced out.
Yes. And overlooked.
And so that's basically what we concentrate on as a task force.
Okay.
And bringing the community together. And which is where I started some of these events, all these different events and stuff that I do.
Good.
And it's all about bringing the community
together
like it used to be.
Yeah, oh yes. Community was so important growing
yes.
up. But we're so divided now.
Yes.
Everybody is so distracted. I think with social media, kids don't go out to play. Kids don't go to grandma's house. Kids don't like to do anything but this. TV, the PlayStations, and all of that, and I think the parents, we've kind of melted into allowing them to do that.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so I don't know if that's good, but you head up YFAB and Match. Tell us about that, because that deals with the youth and then also with the seniors. Is that correct?
Well, the Northwest Auburn Task Force deal more with the seniors.
Okay.
And our youth organization is YFABs and Match. And YFABs are our females.
Okay.
And that means young female achiever, believers, scholars.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
And our Match are our males. And Match, MATCH, males aiming to change history.
Woo, that's powerful.
And our youth starts from the ages of 4.
Okay.
And they can go all the way up to 17. Right now, our oldest youth is my granddaughter,
okay,
Skylar,
yes.
which is 15. So I started that because I have a passion for working with kids,
yes.
and I always have.
Why weren't you a school teacher then?
Well, in my family, I'm really considered the mean auntie. But all the kids like to hang around me and stuff. But they feel like, all of them feel like I'm that mean auntie.
That's right. But you bring structure and order into their
lives. That's right. Right.
But they love you.
Yes. I hope they do. But I started this organization, and one of the reasons why I started it is because I wanted to go back to some of the things that we used to do. Yeah. And the most important thing was mannerism.
Oh, come on now. You better talk about it. You better say that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mannerism. So we teach these kids mannerism because when I was growing up, it was yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, thank you, please. Yeah. We use words like that. Yeah. Yes, may I. We just don't just do just to be doing. And so that's one of the things I try to teach our kids. And I also want to teach them community service.
Right.
So what we do with the seniors is we allow our children to come in and serve the seniors.
That's right. Yes.
And so and that's the life I used to live.
That's right. Oh yes, we did. You better say that. Oh Lord Jesus, we did it.
And so I'm trying to bring them back that type of structure,
right, and helping others.
Right. Exactly.
Well, we're gonna take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with you.
Hello, I'm Janotica Hughley Holmes, candidate for Opelika City Council, Ward 2. As your next representative, I will be dedicated, committed, and lead with empathy to bring in safer communities for our youth, our seniors, and all residents in Ward 2. I believe in building a future and bridging the gaps in our wards. I believe in compassionate leadership. I believe in leadership that lifts, and I believe in leadership that listens. I will first listen, I will show up, and I will then act. As your city council representative, I will be committed to our seniors, for they are the foot soldiers of our community. I will work hard to bring subsidized, housing to our communities. I will look for the partnerships. I will have the conversations. I have been doing the work on the ground. Now I am ready to have a seat at the table. On August 26, 2025, vote Janotica Hughley Holmes for Opelika City Council, Ward 2. Let's move Opelika Ward 2 upward and forward together.
Hey, we are back from our commercial break, and I hope you enjoyed it with Janotica Holmes. Listen, we're going to finish this dynamic conversation with Councilwoman Ms. Connie Taylor. I think that's going to build, you're building character in them.
Yes.
You know, and it helps because when we grew up, we did that.
Yes.
You know, my grandmother would have her sunbeam over or her women's whoever over to the house, and we had to start a week ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
We had to wash all the china. We had to
yes.
set the table. We had to scrub the
Yes.
floors, wash the cabinet. We had to do all that just prepare for that one day.
Right.
You know, and then when they got there, we had to serve them.
Exactly. And what we do, and I've noticed that a lot of kids, especially boys and girls, they've lost respect for each other.
Yes, come on now.
And so what we do is we let our guys serve our girls at some meetings, and our girls serve our guys at meetings. So they have to take turns serving one another. And so, and we take them on trips. So we expose them to, I try to, my best, I'm going to say us as an organization, because I don't run the show by myself.
Sure.
I have great leaders, and two of my leaders, my main leader, one of my main leaders is from Macon County, because we service Macon and Lee County.
Right.
Okay. And so Miss Powell, Miss Tashir Powell, I want to give her a shout out. And also my two sons.
Yes, they're very active with you.
Yes, Jossie and Lemuel. And that, you know, they act and they pretty good with the kids, and they, you know, with the community, and just getting out and finding resources and that type of stuff to help us out. And actually we're a nonprofit organization.
Right. Okay.
And so but it's just a delight to just be able to work with children, work with our seniors. I'm a senior citizen myself, so you know I'm at that age that one day I hope somebody be servicing me.
Yes.
But there's a gap in there that's hard to reach. But hopefully, especially after this Juneteenth, because I saw more young people come out to Juneteenth this time, than ever before. Wow. So maybe now, you know, everybody's seeing that, you know, it takes a village.
Yes, it does. Oh, come on now.
Yes, it takes a village. And the village is all of us. And regardless to age, color, whatever, it takes the whole village to make it work.
Yes, it does.
And so that, you know, so those are some of the things that I'm trying to instill in these kids. Actually, we take them on a year-end trip. We're getting ready to take them.
Where y'all going?
We're going to Dothan. We're going to take them to
Alabama.
Yes. To the water park. So it's not far off.
That's
but
okay.
but we taking them.
It's a trip, and I know they're going to enjoy it.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
I remember helping you with the senior banquet, or was it the senior prom? Senior prom. What was it?
Well, it's not the senior prom. It's our Valentine ball.
Valentine ball. I think it was a couple of years ago, about 2 years ago.
And you also helped with the Thanksgiving dinner.
Yes, we did. So,
we do our senior Thanksgiving dinner.
That's what it
we
was.
do our senior
Valentine.
bingo, and just try to do a lot with the seniors. And I want to send a shout out to our Secretary Sam Hall, and also our treasurer Nadine Payne.
Yes.
And then we have other leaders, you know, that help us out and everything. But I want to really mention Sam and Nadine, because they're the money people. They hold the money.
You got to have the money, girl.
They take the notes and they hold the money.
Thank you all for being a blessing to Miss Connie and the organization. Yes, and you know, good help is really, it's really hard to find, but it's necessary in order to be successful.
And it's good, especially when people volunteer their times to do this. Everybody donates their time, and I just want to thank the whole team for just donating their time to our seniors and to me. And our children.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you said.
Oh, that's okay. You. Yeah, you, the youth and you.
Okay. But so I really, really appreciate that.
Yes.
And so, you know, I just want them to know that if they looking,
they will be watching.
Okay.
Well, that's good. You know, it's important that we do that because when I was helping you those times, the youth were there. They had on their white shirts and their black pants, and so it was beautiful to watch them serve. So you keep up the good work with YFAB and Match.
Yes.
Well, the last how many years you headed up the Juneteenth for Auburn?
Yes.
And I've helped, I think, once or twice.
Yes.
But how many years? And how important is it for you to continue to build a legacy of freedom to our community?
Well, Juneteenth, you know, I just found out about Juneteenth after I got on the council.
Okay, and
because it was not
8 years ago.
Yeah, yeah. Because it was not nothing that was taught in school.
Yes.
And just to know that it's celebrated and it's my three of my sons, well, all three of my sons went to school in Texas.
Okay.
Okay.
So they were.
So Juneteenth was the thing out there from June the 13th all the way to June the 19th.
Okay.
So they said they celebrated, you know, their whole Juneteenth.
Wow.
And so when I read upon it, I did a lot of research and that type of stuff. And I read upon it, and I thought to myself, I said, you know what, this would be something great to bring to Auburn.
Yes.
And so I'm almost certain that I was the first person or council person to actually celebrate and bring the celebration to Auburn.
Wow.
So I hope that goes down in history.
It will.
And I hope,
awesome.
but I, you know, one day, you know, when I have passed on,
yeah,
I hope somebody continue that legacy and you know, continue to bring it to Auburn. And not only that happened probably it's been about 5 years now.
Okay.
But I started off doing an unsung hero, recognizing people in the community who does not be recognized, or some of the things that people don't know that people are doing. So I started off in 2022, the unsung hero, and then it went from unsung hero to Juneteenth in 1 month.
Wow, 1 month.
In 1 month.
Wow.
And so I combined both of them together. So I do the Juneteenth and the unsung hero together. So I've recognized a lot of people in the community with some of the accomplishments they've done.
Yeah.
And we do a proclamation. Our mayor does a proclamation every year. And so Juneteenth has really, really opened up a lot of doors for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And this year looked like it was celebrated everywhere.
It's growing. It's growing because unlike me, just like you, I think it was probably 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. Within the last 14 years, because we were over here the first time I heard about Juneteenth, and I think Jaquetta Ward, Miss Crittenden's daughter, told us about it, and we started in. You know, I was on their first committee, and I was like, you know, then I kind of fell off, but you didn't hear anything about it until the last couple of years. It has really blown up.
Yes.
You know, and maybe like you said, the people up north maybe celebrate it, but down here in the South, we did it. It wasn't recognized, you know, so now it's a holiday. So, you know, it's really grown, and I'm so glad that we have something to celebrate, you know, when it comes to our freedom, you know, and it means a lot to to us, you know, and I'm so glad that people recognize it around the world.
And the thing about it, too, also, is that I started a Juneteenth parade.
Yes, I remember that. I was in it last year.
Yeah, and it was really nice this year. There's a lot of participation in the Juneteenth parade.
Okay.
I just wish the community would just come out and just watch the parade and just see all the people and all the cultures and you know, just the excitement of celebrating Juneteenth in a parade.
Yes.
And what I've done is I've done it in the community.
Yes, that's
okay?
right. Yep.
It's not downtown Auburn, but it goes from Borkin, which used to be my elementary school, and goes all the way to Drake, that used to be somebody's high school.
Yeah, yes, yeah,
okay?
It sure did.
And so we marched from and right there between Clark, the intersection of Clark and Borkin, we do a big dance celebration right in the center,
right
in the heart of it.
Wow.
So, and if you haven't ever been there to a Juneteenth,
wow
please come
to Auburn.
Yes.
Awesome. Isn't that something?
Yes.
Well, how important is it for the city of Auburn for you to hear the voices of the people in your community, especially in the ward that you serve? How important is it as a councilwoman to hear the voice of the people? You know, I'm sure being a ward leader, they come to you with their issues, they come to you with their problems or their concerns. How important is that?
It's very important because I think the people chose me to be a voice for the community.
Sure.
And especially for the ward that I represent. And so when people comes to me with complaint, I encourage everybody, and I'm going to continue to encourage everybody, come to city council meeting.
Yes.
We meet the first and third Tuesdays of every month, and it starts at 6 o'clock. And so it's okay to bring me your concerns, but let it go on record.
That's right.
I like for it to go on record about the concerns and stuff for the community, but I try to address every concern that comes before me.
Exactly.
And I encourage people all over Auburn, know who your city council person is.
Yes.
I am here to represent the whole city, but I was chosen to represent Ward 1. But I like for people to come, and I always let every ward leader represent their community.
Right.
And so I, everybody give everybody that respect. So it's really important, and the concerns, and a lot of the concerns has been addressed.
Right. Okay. Good.
Do get
Very
addressed.
Good. Yeah.
They do. I ain't gonna say all of them been addressed, but
sure, majority.
But the majority of them do get addressed. And so I think the city manager and the mayor and the other council members, I think we work well together as a group.
That's important.
And everybody listen to everybody concerned. And when you come to the city council meeting, even if you think you're not going to vote for something, and by the time you listen at the people and really hear their concern, then guess what? You end up, because it's about the people.
Right. Yes, it is.
To me,
it's about the people.
It's all about the people.
In
It's not about us as city council members, but it's about the people that we serve.
Amen. That's good. And it makes people feel good when they know that their voices are heard
Yes.
and their concerns are important.
Yes.
And you're just not holding a seat or a position, but you're really helping to make a difference in the community.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Well, you live in Auburn, Alabama.
Yes.
And you all have that major college in Auburn, Alabama. How does having a major college such as Auburn University, how does it affect the city? I know outside of growth, I know it's busting out the scene.
And that's what I was going to say.
Okay.
It's always that growth, and the college is just about big as the city.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So the main thing is, I think a lot of people concern is student housing.
Oh yeah, no doubt about that.
And they're being put everywhere.
Yes.
And because the city is so small, it's
kind of being compact.
Yeah, it's very congested.
Yeah.
And then we're looking at a lot of high-rise buildings.
Yes.
Which has changed over the years. I think if my daddy was here today, he'd be like, "Oh my God."
He'd just pass out all over again.
He probably wouldn't know which way to go.
Yes.
But yeah, it's the growth. The growth is really, it's overwhelming, and that's a lot of the. For every ward, not just Ward 1.
Sure, yeah, for the entire city.
But mainly in Ward 1, I feel like that the people feel like, we're being pushed out because of the growth.
Oh, wow.
And so that's a big concern to the citizens in my ward, is being able to afford, live in Auburn.
Yes. Stay in Auburn.
Because, there's no affordable housing. The developers are buying up the land.
Yes.
And developing.
Yeah.
And so it's it's just too much.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
I got you.
And so it's just, and that's a problem that I don't know. I don't know where it's going to stop.
Yes.
I don't know when it's going to stop.
And it may not.
And it may not
because,
stop.
Right, because to have a university right here in your city, it's going to continue to grow.
Yes.
You know, people move in and they love it. They stay, you know, and then I know I've seen the expansion. And my husband and I think it was last year before last, we went right it down. We went looking for a church. I forgot the name of the church. And we looked, and my husband knows. My husband's a very good traveler. He knows landmarks and everything. We went looking for the church, and we turned around, bagged up, went down this street. Come to find out, the church is not even there anymore. Apartments or housing is there. I was like, well, they must have bought.
You talking about White Street?
That's what I'm talking about. That's it.
the old White Street.
I was like, what?
Yes.
We were just like blown away because it wasn't there anymore. And so we see the growth. We know the growth. And I said, okay, this is what happened to it. You know, so, you know, growth is
and
good.
It's so steady. You know, it's every day. If you go out on Richland Road, you got 2 developments going on Richland Road. Yeah. And you got a whole community coming to Richland Road, a whole town coming to Richland Road. There's a town been set inside of a town on Richland Road.
Oh my goodness!
And
I don't know what that is.
It's 2 schools out there.
Okay.
On Richland Road.
Okay, gotcha.
2 elementary schools out there. We're getting ready for a new high school.
Yes, you are.
Second high school.
Wow.
So you know the city got to be growing. And I think right now we have a total of about 11 elementary schools.
Oh my goodness.
So
wow.
it's just a big.
City.
It's a big city.
Yeah.
It's different from the city I grew up in as a little girl.
Yes,
it was there,
right?
But it was trees and dirt roads and
hills and valleys.
Not
today.
Not today.
Well,
no.
Nothing stays the same. You know, I'm a transplant of Opelika in Opelika. I'm from the valley, and I've been out here over 20 something years, and I've seen a change here in Opelika.
Oh,
you know,
yes.
So yeah, we have a little traffic now. Yeah. You know, but I love to seeing the growth, and I know it's not going to stay the same. It's continue growing, and our Mayor Fuller, he has done a great job in bringing jobs and in housing. I think we need a little bit more affordable housing.
Yes.
In our area as well. But we do see the growth, and we do like the growth. You know, we like the restaurants and the shopping and stuff like that. So, but you know, you all are doing a great job. You know, so continue to do a great job. Well, that's about the end of our show. But is there any final remarks you would like to say as Councilwoman of Auburn, Alabama, being the advocate in our community for being such a pioneer and a trailblazer? Anything you would like to say to your community and to your fellow co-laborers in Christ and community?
Yes. I would like to close out by saying we know that Auburn is growing, and there's lots of jobs. There's lots of jobs being brought into the community, and so if we take advantage of these jobs and the growth, then especially to our young people, if we could just take advantage of the jobs. And a lot of these are high-paying jobs. And if we get these high-paying jobs, even some of these jobs that is coming into the city, they pay you to train.
Yes, they do.
They train you and pay you at the same time.
That's good to know.
Yes, and so if you take advantage of it, then you'll be able to live in Auburn. And I would like to, like I said, I would like to see one day when I done passed on, that somebody just pick up the torch and keep it running with it.
Exactly. Amen. Pass the baton.
Just pass it.
Yes. Well, you have heard it from Ms. Connie Taylor herself. Pass the baton. Keep the legacy going. Keep the work that she's doing in the community going. And we want to thank her again for being here today on the You Better Say That talk show.
You better say that.
You better say that. So listen, until next time, God bless you. Remember to tune in to the You Better Say That Facebook page, the You Better Say That YouTube channel, and my personal channel. And remember to check out our website at ybsttalkshow.com. God bless you. And until next time, you better say that.
You better say that. The best talk show, you better say that. The guests on the show, you better say that. Give knowledge and